If you had ever told me we'd be in mid-January in Kentucky and talking football, I might not have believed it, but we found the person that's able to do it. His first interview with Kentucky Sports Radio, Coach Mark Stoops. Coach, thank you very much.
Hey, it's great to be here, Matt.
You know, it's been a whirlwind for you. I mean, you've been all over the place in the last month and a half. How would you characterize your first, 45 days in office here at UK?
It's been wild, but it's been a lot of fun. I tell you, it's been an incredible journey so far, and look forward to the rest of it. But just starting with the press conference in the first couple days, it was overwhelming reception here by the Big Blue Nation. So that was a lot of fun, and just putting the staff together and on the recruiting. So it's been a little bit crazy.
Let me ask you about that press conference, because you're getting off the plane, and you can't really know what you're about to walk into. But even for me, who's been here doing this, that press conference was like a wow moment for me. What was that like for you?
I agree. I said that I walked up, I talked to Tony and all the the administration. I said, "Wow, that's how we do things here, huh?" It was pretty wild. It was exciting. I said they must have had a lot of confidence in me. First time being a head coach, and they rolled me into a press conference with about 500 people. So
you mentioned at the press conference, you kind of thought this might be the year.
Yeah.
That you would end up doing a head coaching job. You were getting prepared for it. Kentucky job comes open, maybe the first one of the jobs. What made you say, okay, that's one I really like?
Well, I don't know if you ever go into it saying that this particular job or eyeing a job or anything like that. I think in our business, I think it's pretty much common knowledge who's maybe on the hot seat or what's going on in the coaching profession and all that. So when the job came open, yeah, sure, you look at it and say, wow, that's a good one. It's in the SEC. It's a heck of a school, a heck of a program that you feel like maybe has been underachieving a little bit. You feel like you can go there and improve them and coach them and recruit and all those good things. So at first glance, I'm busy. I'm in the season. I'm in the preparations and all that stuff. But yeah, I think it's fair to say that you look at it and say, hey, that's a good job that came open right away. That came open early.
Is part of that the SEC part? I mean, as for a coach,
yeah.
Is there something about coaching in this conference that makes?
Yeah, I definitely think there is. I had never coached in this conference, but as you know, I've coached at the top level of a lot of places and won a national championship and been through all the ups and downs through the coaching profession. But I do feel like there's that challenge. There's that competitive nature in coaches that say this is the SEC. I think it's hard to argue right now with what the SEC is doing as a conference and the structure of this league and the leaders of this conference. So yeah, it definitely was intriguing for me.
Now that you've been here and you see where Kentucky is, talk to me about sort of a vision of how does Kentucky fans would want to be this football program. They want to be successful. These fans yearn for it. What is the vision of how does Kentucky get from where they are now to a team that could contend to go to the SEC title game, et cetera? How does that happen?
Well, the first thing you just touched on, it's very hard to build a program if there is no support. So the first, thing you need is what you just touched on is the support and the people that are starving for success in football in Kentucky. And, that's a big part of it for me, because if you go to a program that you're constantly trying to promote just to get a few seats in the stand or a few people in the stands, then things aren't going to go well, So I think the support and again, going back to the Big Blue Nation and the people that are excited about football. And, I think that's a big start, to have that commitment because players want to play in front of people. So if we get this thing going, do a great job, win games like we plan on doing, and keep on building that fan base and having a great atmosphere in Commonwealth, then then more players are going to want to play here. And then, of course, you're going to go around the league and play in all the great venues. So you have a lot to recruit to. So I think the first part of it for me was going to a program that you felt like there was some support from the administration, that you felt like there was some support from the fans. And, and with that and with a great city, you could get started in recruiting. And I think you could tell that we're going to recruit at a higher level and, and build it that way because, the base of our program is going to be recruit. develop the players that are here, develop them, and we're going to do that, and we're going to have a great structure around them to develop the players that were here, and we're going to develop the players as a whole person, and help them in every way of their life. So, that's the basis of the program, and we felt like we could get that done here at Kentucky.
It used to be that Kentucky kids from Kentucky that were high ranked would consider Kentucky, but you didn't see 4-star players from out of state considering Kentucky. They are now. How are you selling that to them?
Well, I think you sell them with who you are, first and foremost. I mean, kids see right through you now, so you are what you are, and I think, kids have seen that I've been successful everywhere I've been. The staff that we've hired has been successful everywhere we've been. The administration has been extremely supportive of allowing me to hire great coaches and people that know how to recruit at a high level. So I think, I don't know if there's any magic formula other than being who you are, working hard, having coaches and myself and all the coaches that have contacts and that have good reputation and go out there and build relationships with kids. And, that's what it's all about. I mean, all of us have big fancy buildings, some of us nicer than others, and we're going to improve on certain things, but we have adequate facilities to get started and to build a quality team. Do we want to improve them? Sure, and we will. But I think all places have big, fancy buildings and all that. It's about who's in the building, who's going to affect these players, who's going to affect them each and every day, and whether they believe you're going to get it done or not, and whether you believe that you care about them, that you're going to develop them and help them in every way. So these kids are smart. They with all the media that's out there now, they get hit 1,000 different directions each and every day, and it still ultimately comes down to relationships.
You said that the first thing you had to do in recruiting, lock down the state of Kentucky or do as well as you can. And then it's become clear, both in who you've signed and who we're seeing that you're recruiting, that Ohio is crucial to you. Will you talk a little bit about that state? It's a state a lot of fans have said, why don't we go to Ohio way in the past? That's important to you, obviously.
Well, it is important to me. And as you know, I grew up in Ohio. Yes. And my father was a high school coach for many, many years in Ohio. And my oldest brother, Ron, was a high school coach for many years in Ohio. And, so I know the quality of football player that's in Ohio, but it only makes sense, for Southern Ohio, it's right down the street. I mean, that's considered local for us.
Yes.
In how we view recruiting. So that's home base for us. So, of course, when you look at it, so Southern Ohio is home base for us. And then with my connections and with where I grew up and everything, it just makes sense to go into northern Ohio and northeastern Ohio. So, so really all of Ohio, we're going to hit hard.
I knew, and the fans here know, how important football is to these folks. Have you been surprised about that at all in terms of the perception is it's a basketball place, and to some extent it is, but they care here.
They care. And yeah, I've been pleasantly surprised. I believed in them before I got here. I knew they had good support. But it has been, it's been terrific. Cannot be, more excited, even about our students on campus and, walking through basketball games, and they may see me or see our recruits coming by and just, recruiting them, helping us, and just having it being a very unique atmosphere in the basketball games and throughout the state. The people have been terrific, and it's very exciting, and I appreciate all the support. And, I said this in the interview earlier as well, we need everybody on board. We need everybody pulling in the same direction, and it takes a great commitment by the state, by the administration, by the university, by the players and coaches to everybody get this thing done. It's not easy to win championships. It's not easy to win the SEC, and we need everybody on the same page, and we need everybody on board. So I appreciate it and look forward to getting many, many more people in the nation.
What's any differences between what they will see and what they saw, say, 10 years ago here?
Well, anybody, certainly in my position, that's a defensive head coach, is going to, I think you're going to know, I'm going to say, you got to have some balance, but you also, I was looking for somebody, you have to be creative in how you move the ball. As a defensive coordinator for a long time and playing a lot of different offenses, the people that put you in a run-pass conflict are people that are successful, and to be balanced and be able to do both. Now, how you do that, that's up to Neil, and that's where, we look at it and say, and through the interview process and as we're talking, talking about his offense and where he envisions this offense going. Because just like on defense, just like on offense, you're constantly growing. Just like you were talking about 10 years ago here with the air raid and the air raid now, it's different. There's different variations of the spread offense. So big thing for me is a person that's creative, but a person that uses all the space on the field. You know, there's a lot of green grass out there, and people that spread it out and run it and throw it, you know, can be very effective. And I felt like with the personnel that we have at Kentucky right now, the personnel that we're going to develop, where we're going, it was the best fit to be successful here. You know, I also love the fact that Neil had a you know, great desire to be back here and to be back in his home state, and so, you know, it was a great fit.
Where do you like your strengths right now, or are there positions you say, okay, we really need some help here?
Well, I just think philosophically that you have to be good on the lines. I think, you know, most people that are football people would, you know, agree with that, but you know, we're addressing that. I feel like we need to be more physical. You know, we need you know, bigger bodies. We need to be, you know, just physical on both sides of the ball. So you know, we're trying to address that, and you know, it takes a little longer sometimes for those guys to develop, you know, with on the O-line and D-line. So you need to get those guys in here, get them lifting, get them in your program, and developing those guys. So obviously we're trying to address that with both sides of the ball in the line of scrimmage. And then skill players. I mean, let's face it, you need to be more explosive. You need guys that can point points on the board, and guys that can handle, you know, guys outside, you know, corners and that. So, you know, hey, we need a little bit of everything. I think we all know that, you know, but the skill guys, you know, we're trying to bring in some players that could come in and contribute and can help us right away the first year of the program.
You really believe it can happen here?
Absolutely.
Help. You've convinced me. Help convince some of the other folks listening.
Well, absolutely. We believe. Well, why would you not get it done here? I mean, it's a great place to live. It's a great school with great support. You know, we have the financial backing, and you know, sure, you've got to overcome some, you know, as far as numbers of in-state recruits. But again, I think we have a great product to recruit to, and you know, again, you know, it goes back to what I said earlier: recruit, develop the players you have. That's part of coaching. You know, that's weight strength people. That's people that affect your players in any which way. You know, it's academic people. There's a lot of people, you know, within your organization that you got to have on the same page, and you got to have a great commitment to. I feel like there's a great commitment here. You know, we're still restructuring and organizing it the way that we want to get it done. But everybody that affects these kids need to affect them in a positive way, and you got to develop them, and that's your job as a coach. You know, so there's great players here right now. Do we need more? Absolutely. We need a lot more, you know, but that's our job, to recruit, you know, more players, to surround the players that are here, and it's our job to develop the players that are here, you know. So, you know, it's a big process, and it doesn't happen overnight. As you know, in football, it takes a lot of good players.
Yeah. Do you look at that? We got about 30 seconds before the break. Mm-hmm. I got you for one more segment. So, about 30 seconds. That schedule next year? It's a daunting schedule, but do you like that? Do you like the fact?
I do. You know, it's funny. You know, you don't really study it too much when you get here because you have so many things to do. But I was just down in the weight room this morning checking on some of our guys, and we have it right outside and I was looking at it again here just a little while ago, and you're right. It's something else. It's something else. Let's go.